Former middleweight champion Bobby Knuckles is fighting Reinier de Ridder in the main event of UFC Abu Dhabi this weekend. He's a minus 150 favorite, but honestly, I think he should be minus 300 at least. So let me break it down. First, let's talk about how they match up on the feet, as that's probably the most obvious part of the fight to predict. De Ridder will have a 4-inch reach advantage, as well as being 4 inches taller, but I don't think that will factor much into him being able to win any of the striking exchanges here. Looking at his past few fights, in the rematch against Malakin, he landed basically nothing besides a couple leg kicks and one head kick, although it was quite weak and didn't really have any noticeable impact. Basically, in that fight, he got constantly pressured and beat up to the head and the body until he essentially gave up in round 3. Didn't really pose any threat to Malakin, who just came at Ridder with no fear of anything coming back his way, especially because he knocked him out in round 1 in their previous fight. Yes, it was at light heavyweight, and yes, there's no shame in losing to Malakin, who is a beast, but still, both his striking offense and defense were essentially non-existent in that fight. In his UFC debut against Mearshot, he again got outstruck, and while there's no shame in losing the stand-up to Malakin, there is shame in being outboxed by Mearshot. Most concerning was his amateurish defense. Whenever Mearshot threw a punch, De Ridder would lean straight back and often turn his head away. Maybe he was trying to roll with the punches, but when you lean your head all the way back so stiffly and then also turn to the side, that's not really rolling with the punches. It seemed more like he just kind of didn't know what to do and was scared of getting hit. Whittaker will punish him badly for doing shit like that. On the plus side in that fight, at the end of round 1, he did connect with an elbow, and while Mearshot was backing away, he dropped him with a long hook. But that's about the extent of his striking success in that fight. He did throw kicks, mostly leg kicks, but some body kicks, a head kick too, but nothing with any real power or intent behind it. Mostly just soft ones to keep Mearshot at bay and potentially look to set up a takedown. He doesn't really throw many punches at all. It mostly is just kicks. Against Kevin Holland, the whole fight took place on the mat, so no striking to talk about there. And the Bo Nickel fight I will discuss in a bit because that was pretty much all clinch fighting with no striking at range. Whittaker, we all know how he strikes at this point. Karate style, wide stance, hands low, stays on the outside, likes to blitz in, fast hands, powerful, good combos, strong leg kicks. Overall, a very good striker. He did well on the feet against DDP, but eventually Duplessis kind of did figure him out and fucked him up with a big power shot. But I highly doubt De Ridder can pull anything like that off. Bobby handled Costa fairly easily, landing his jab cleanly, strong leg kicks, tidy combos, although he did eat several head kicks, which is potentially the only avenue where De Ridder could have success on the feet here. But I see that as quite a low chance of happening, especially as De Ridder's kicks are quite slow and aren't very powerful. Costa's, he didn't telegraph them. They were from his front leg quite often, quite fast, and he did rock Whittaker with that spinning heel kick at the end of round 1, but the other head kicks didn't really trouble Whittaker that much. Impressively last year, Whittaker destroyed Aliskerov in round 1, landed a powerful 1-2, and then nice finishing sequence as well, head kick, uppercut, just put his lights out. I don't see De Ridder dealing with that type of variety, speed, or power very well. Basically, he's going to have some grappling success to have any chance of winning this fight. So can he take Whittaker down? Against Malakin, every single takedown attempt was stuffed easily. Against Mearshot, he did land some double legs, didn't really disguise or set them up though. Mostly kind of just seemed to get them by virtue of being bigger and stronger than Mearshot. I suppose I can give him credit for timing them well as well. He landed them mostly when Mearshot was close to the fence. He was standing flat-footed, and De Ridder took advantage of that. But conversely, he did have a lot of his takedown attempts stuffed for the same reason that he didn't set them up properly and didn't really follow through on the attempts. Against Kevin Holland, he got him down instantly with a single leg, but it's Kevin Holland who has shit takedown defense, zero get-up game, and is just physically skinny and weak. Against Whittaker, who keeps his hands low and has made a career out of being an anti-wrestler, I think it's going to be extremely difficult to get single or double legs. De Ridder doesn't really have the speed or strength or aggression of someone like Khamzat, who is really the only person to have bullied Whittaker in the grappling department. Duplessis did land a takedown by brute forcing it, but again, even though De Ridder is big, he doesn't seem kind of hugely strong, and definitely nowhere near as apishly strong as DDP or Khamzat. I think even if De Ridder does end up on top, he doesn't seem to have heavy top control. He can lose position, he can be reversed, and he does seem to favour submission over position. So I think Bobby can work his way back up if he ends up on the floor. As I say, I don't really think De Ridder will be able to land the takedowns. He does have trips in his arsenal. He got Mearshot down with one, but again, I'm not sure if that will work against Whittaker. Bo Nickel easily defended the trip and throw attempts. And again, if he does trip Whittaker, I doubt he'll be able to control him for long. I guess now we come to the clinch, which is probably where De Ridder has the biggest chance of success. Honestly, we haven't seen much of Whittaker in the clinch, despite him having so many fights. He tends to stay all the way out of range or be blitzing in close, kind of never really engaging in clinch fighting. So, I suppose there is a bit of question mark in terms of how he would deal with the clinch, which I have to assume is where De Ridder will be trying to fight this fight. In the first round of his fight against Bo Nickel, he was mostly losing the clinch battle, I would say, although it was kind of even and non-eventful. They did kind of go back and forth against the cage in the clinch. The second round is where he really fucked Bo up in the clinch. Strong knees to the body, pushing him up against the fence, dirty box into the head and body while clinching, and he finished him with like the fifth or sixth body knee of the round. So yeah, the clinch is where I suppose de Ridder will have the upper hand here if he can keep control there, and if Whittaker can't disengage, I guess. But yeah, I suppose the final aspect here to mention is the cardio, and I think this actually is an important part of the fight because we've seen de Ridder gas out a few times actually against Malakin after 2.5 rounds of being constantly pressured and beaten up. De Ridder, he was exhausted, pretty much gave up. Like Herb Dean kind of gave him a chance to kind of get up, and just de Ridder was done, gave up. Against Mearshot, he looked tight as fuck by round 2. He spent a couple minutes just flat on his back underneath Mearshot, just catching his breath. Kevin Holland was obviously round 1 finish. Against Bo, he looked fine, but that was a slow-paced fight with no real offense coming his way to tire him out. Whittaker, on the other hand, has proven to have good cardio. He's fought multiple 5-round fights, never really gassed out, elite conditioning, keeps himself in impeccable shape. He slowed down a little bit in round 3 versus Costa, but that was a high-action fight, and he still won that round. I feel like Bobby could break de Ridder, who might gas hard if he gets pressured enough. So yeah, to summarize de Ridder's advantages, he will be the bigger man. He probably has the advantage in the clinch, although whether he can keep the fight there or even land any strikes there, I don't know. Obviously, he has great submissions and a strong squeeze. He made both Holland and Mearshot tap quite quickly after locking the chokes in, but I think he'll struggle to get Whittaker to the floor. Whereas Whittaker, he's going to be the faster, more powerful technical striker, and I think he'll successfully defend a lot of the takedowns. He'll land some clean combos, hack away at de Ridder's leg, pour on the pressure, wear him down, and in a 5-round fight, I think he can definitely break him. And also bearing in mind de Ridder's highly questionable boxing defense he showed against Mearshot, I would not be surprised at all if Bobby puts his lights out in round 1. So yeah, I think Bobby is one of the best value bets of this year so far. I think he should be minus 300 at least, and I'm picking him to win by KO, which is around plus 170.